2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome into it. Hey, we got a big show lined up for you today. It's going to be a fun one. Happy Friday. Ready to rock and roll. Right out of the gate, Faith Burns will be on the program. Our friends over at Americans for Prosperity, fellow of energy policy. We're going to talk about what's the heck's going on in the energy markets right now, which is obviously a large point of conversation. Also, we are going to go completely off the rails at the end, bottom of the hour and have some fun. Chris Bledsoe will be on the program. He is the author of the book UFO of God. He is the number one most studied individual from government and from universities around the world on his abduction and UFO activity. Oh, yeah. He's got some interesting stories. We'll cover some of that to wrap up here on a Friday. Kind of an interesting conversation for the end of the week, right? We'll do all that and a heck of a lot more. Make sure to like it out, share it out, leave that comment, break the algorithm. Let's do this thing. Hang tight.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your Friday. Hey, greatest day of the week. You made it, my friends. Welcome aboard. Great to have you along. I know you're excited about seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, about starting off your weekend, and we are here for it, and I cannot wait to kick that off with you right here on the program. As usual, broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas on our flagship radio station, but we are all over the country. So many great radio affiliates doing our thing. Do it live! Like we do every single day here on the program. We have a treat for you. There is plenty to recap from the week, plenty to talk about today. But we're going to, and we'll talk about some of it. Don't get me wrong. We have the change up in the Department of Homeland Security. We still don't have it open. The Senate voted against that bill yesterday on DHS funding. That was kind of interesting. The Trump administration doing a ratepayer protection promise with data centers and energy, which we will get to here momentarily. Bottom of the hour, though, we're going to do something just a little bit different. This individual, and we chatted with him just a little bit earlier today, but he is about ready to fly to Egypt and France, so he's kind of all over the place. We had him on the program about 3 years ago. And we got some interesting response on that because some people agree with it, some people don't like it, some people believe, some people don't believe it. If you don't, then you can use it for your entertainment purposes however you want to. But a super fascinating story, and he is the number one most studied guy on the planet by government and by universities and by religious institutions from an experience he had about 20 years ago of one of the most documented abduction ET cases and still some of the most UFO activity around him on a regular basis.
Say what?
I know. And 10 years ago, when he released his book about 3 years ago, he wrote something down about 10 years ago that actually predicted the invasion and the bombing of Iran in 2026 that would lead to, by the way, one of the largest ET disclosures and UAP disclosures by Easter of 2026, which is, I don't know, like weeks away. So, yeah, we're going to have some fun with that coming up at the bottom of the hour. Again, take it, leave it. You can believe, disbelieve, but it's a fascinating story, and we'll do that coming up at the bottom of the hour. That being said, there is plenty to get to. As you know, the Trump administration working on energy. I had just seen a headline. Now, of course, this is the media, take the media as it is. How we deal with this, we'll have to talk about moving forward. But oil has had the largest jump in, I guess, I don't know, a couple of decades, apparently, because of the ongoing conflict with Iran and some of the ports that are having issues. And is there a deeper plan for it with foreign policy, with China having like 40% of their energy being cut off because of this issue going on with Iran? And is there something deeper going on where it's not just about them? But when it comes to energy here in the U.S., when it comes to data centers, prices of oil, and so much more, that's where we're going to go to with our first guest here on the program.
Let's go to the Hooser Media Hotline.
And happy to have on the program here back with us to spend a little bit. She's a fellow for energy policy with our friends over at Americans for Prosperity, americansforprosperity.org. Really happy to have back on here Faith Burns. Faith, how are you, my friend?
I am doing fabulous, and I, too, am glad it's Friday.
Yeah,
glad
yes.
to talk about energy policy on this Friday.
That's right. It is a Friday, and it's the best time to talk about it. And to tie it in, by the way, with our upcoming guest here in just a little bit, I can't wait till I get you on the program to talk about zero-point energy that ETs give us. I mean, why not?
When I heard the teaser about the UFO guy, I thought, hey, I need to listen to that too.
Yeah, he's very fascinating. Whether people will believe him or don't believe him, he's just a fascinating guy, and it's a wild story to listen to. So, but it's pretty crazy. Let's talk about some energy policy right now. We got to talk about the elephant in the room right now. Gas prices, they were at a record low. We had seen gas prices at the lowest point that we've seen since the end of the last Trump administration in 2021. Now they're starting to climb back up. We've seen a major jump in energy over the last few weeks because of this issue with Iran. What's the story here? Are we going to see this begin to balance out, or are we in some uncertain territory for a while?
Well, I would say probably we are in uncertain territory. You're correct. Prices of gasoline are jumping up. Prices of oil have gone up over $10 a barrel. About 20% of the world's oil supply comes out of the Strait of Hormuz. And if you have seen the news reports or pulled up Google Maps and seen anything of what's going on over there, there's a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
A lot of ships aren't moving. I've read that there were cyber attacks on some of the ships. So basically it's at a choke point. And when we have something like that happen, then yes, we have uncertainty. And two, the markets are going to react to that, and it's uncertainty, so that's why oil's going up.
Yeah, that is very true, and it's unfortunate. Is there something deeper going on? I've heard the rumor that some of the places like China, places like Russia, even though Russia's trying to produce their own oil, we're trying to squeeze them out of the global market with this conflict with Ukraine, that they're heavily tied to Venezuela and Iran. And coincidentally, the two places where Donald Trump's focused a lot of attention has been Venezuela and Iran. Is there something deeper going on when it comes to the global energy market right now?
Well, I'm not our foreign policy expert, but I do read, and maybe there may not be. I could only speculate in that lane.
Yeah.
But I know that there is uncertainty, and a lot of us are watching what's going on over there.
Yeah, that is very true. On the home front, after we did have involvement with Venezuela, we're starting to ship in, and I think we're expected to see maybe 2 million barrels a day coming in from Venezuela that we're supposed to start seeing, and we're starting to see some of it right now once they upgrade their infrastructure. Is that going to help us out a little bit on this front of refilling our reserves and being able to utilize that on a regular basis?
Well, it should, because we are actually a net exporter of oil and petroleum products. But what we import, most of our imports come from the Western Hemisphere. And Venezuela is one of the countries that we import quite a bit of oil from. We also import from Canada, Mexico, and Brazil. So whenever the tankers moving over here in the Western Hemisphere coming up here, that should help us.
Yeah, that would be really nice for sure. Let's talk about the announcement we saw just a couple days ago from the Trump administration. He had signed his ratepayer protection promise, whatever he called it, allowing, that he mentioned during the State of the Union, allowing data centers, allowing these new big tech companies that are building massive plants to be able to generate their own energy, to not suck off the grid for everybody else and raise everybody else's prices by making it uncertain for reliability. Is this good news? And what's the future of energy, do you think, moving forward when we have major companies just essentially finding ways to create their own energy supply?
Well, it's great news, and that is something that Americans for Prosperity has been advocating for some time, because the grid is basically congested, and the less additional demand and pull we have on the grid, if large loads come and bring their own power, that's a good thing. And just a couple of days ago, there was a meeting where Amazon, Google, Microsoft, some of the big data players, they actually signed a ratepayer protection pledge where they agreed that they would bring their own power, they would build it, or they would buy new generation, so other ratepayers wouldn't have to cover the cost of the additional build-out and generation that would be required to serve those large loads.
Wow. What kind of energy are they looking at? Are they doing solar? Are they doing wind? Are they looking at some of this new testing of like the mini nuclear reactors, or maybe an all of the above approach? But what's been kind of the flavor for these independent companies?
Well, I think it's probably an all of the above, but of course, nuclear gets high marks whenever we're talking about independent power producers and co-location. Also gas. Because those two are relatively easy to build, they're consistent, and they're reliable. So a lot of these big data centers have to be operating with basically 99.999% availability of power, and they can't afford to be offline at any time. So they need reliable power. So they're going to go with the most reliable source. And those most reliable sources are generally, it's going to be gas and nuclear.
Very interesting. We're talking with Faith Burns. She is the Americans for Prosperity Fellow of Energy Policy. You can find our friends over at AFP at americansforprosperity.org. With them going off of the grid and doing their own thing, are we able to better upgrade the grid that we have? And by that, I mean we already have a strain, and during the wintertime when we're using more heat and more electricity, we've seen some states that have tried to get rid of coal energy and get rid of other reliable sources. They've seen brown and blackouts. Not as much this year as what we saw about 3-4 years ago, but we still saw some. During the heat, same time when we're plugging in and charging our electric vehicles, is the grid stabilizing more so now, or where are we at when it comes to the actual reliability during extreme temperatures one way or the other?
Well, we still have issues because back a couple of weeks ago when it was horribly cold here on the East Coast and throughout most of the country, the grid was basically almost at a breaking point, and we should expect it to be almost at a breaking point again in the summer, and it all just depends. But I know the goal is for us to be able to manage the grid, to do some build-outs now, which is why we need permitting reform so we can get more generation, more transmission lines built. Yeah. So it all kind of weaves together to hopefully make a reasonable solution to our grid issues.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I know Americans for Prosperity just yesterday announced their brand new affordability plan campaign, which is going to go through the election season. Millions of dollars you guys are spending to try and get the word out there that we're working on affordability plans and ways to do that. I'm assuming part of that is some of the permitting reform and trying to do affordability plans focused on energy. What does that look like moving forward?
Yes, you're exactly right. And we all pay electric bills. The other day I paid a water bill, and I was astounded at how much it was. Electric bills are high, gas bills are high, but affordability is something that hits everyone across the board. And one of the things that Congress can do to actually help energy prices go down is permitting reform. You may recall that in the House passed the SPEED Act a few weeks ago. That's been kicked over to the Senate now. There was a hearing at the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee back the last week of January when it was really, really cold. And that hearing was on permitting reform. And everybody across the board agreed that we need permitting reform. So the question is, what words can the Senate get on paper that everybody can agree to, and then send it back to the House and see what the House and Senate could come up with? Because I do believe that the president will sign a reasonable and responsible permitting reform bill. And yes, that completely ties into affordability, and that's a huge component of our affordability campaign.
Yeah, it really does. And I'm glad you mentioned that because it's very challenging for Congress to be able to sign, apparently, as we can see right now, on bills in a bipartisan way. But I would think that both Republicans and Democrats alike would want affordable energy out there so that way the consumers' life is a little bit easier, the businesses in their districts are a little bit easier. I would think this would be somewhat of a bipartisan agreement, wouldn't you?
Well, it is, but they say the devil is in the details. What some folks believe is affordable and good, other folks may not believe that.
Yeah.
But everybody does agree that we do need permitting reform. So yes, I think everybody's 100% there. It's just what words we get written on paper. That's what's going to matter in the end.
Well, that is very true, except for, of course, the extreme environmentalists that don't think we should be doing anything because how dare we try to use energy in any fashion. We should go back to just living out in the woods in the dark all night long and not worry about any of that stuff. I love it. Faith, we got just about 30 seconds left here. Real quickly, your thoughts on as we go into summertime when we start driving and using more energy already again. Where do you see the cap on oil and gas prices right now, or is it just kind of a wait and see moment?
I think it's going to be wait and see. I hope I'm wrong. I would like to believe that prices could come down in the next few weeks, but I think it's probably more of a wait and see. We don't know how long this conflict is going to last in the Middle East. We just don't.
Yeah, we don't. We're speculating and hoping it's only going to be about 4 to 6 weeks, but again, time will tell, and we do not want a long-term conflict going on out there. President Trump said that. Marco Rubio said that. Pete Hegseth has said that, so let's hope that that doesn't happen. Faith, it's always great to talk to you, my friend. Happy Friday. Got to get you back on again real soon.
Thank you.
Always,
happy Friday to you.
Yeah, happy Friday to you. Always a pleasure. AmericansForProsperity.org, our great partners with us here on the program. Love talking energy policy. We'll do some more of that a little bit later. We got lots more to get to here for a Friday. Stay here for the Voice of Reason.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did two guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone? We put the power of the universe at our fingertips. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever. Every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
As for the future of Iran, as the president has pointed to, of course it's in the best interest of the United States of America for Iran to no longer be led by a radical terrorist regime that chants death to America and is lying to the United States and the world about their secret ambitions to possess a nuclear bomb. President Trump does not want to see that. He wants to take an interest in pursuing who the next leader of the Iranian country is going to be, and that has yet to be seen, and the president is discussing it and deliberating it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the future of Iran looks like. Caroline Leavitt speaking to the press outside earlier today and giving her thoughts on some of these issues. And as we talked with Faith Burns, our friends over at Americans for Prosperity, as the fellow of energy policy, obviously affecting the energy market quite a bit, a lot of those ports being disrupted. President Trump said they are going to focus a lot of attention on reopening those ports, so maybe we'll see things come back down here soon. Even if the conflict goes along, we can at least get ports flowing again, and therefore that would help with refining oil and getting things back to where they were, at least somewhat normal as the conflict goes along. Hey, I want to tell you about my friends over at Lean, and I want to warn you, this is the last weekend that our promo is actually active for Lean. So if you want to get it now. Everybody's talking about their weight loss injections because the results are really dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. But what if you're looking to lose weight and not be interested in the painful weekly injections, especially when you may hear about some of the intense side effects? That's why doctors created the weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are really remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it to energy, and curb your appetite and cravings, so you're just not as hungry. But Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. Doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for the frustrated dieter that wants to lose 10 pounds or more, and we can help you with that. Again, use our promo code. It's only offered until this weekend. We can get you off with 20% off your order and free rush shipping. And add Lean to your healthy diet and your exercise plan. Go to TakeLean.com. TakeLean.com. Use my promo code REASON, REASON, for your discount. TakeLean.com. Use the promo code REASON and go ahead and do it right now. And again, that's only active through this weekend. So if you've been thinking about it, kind of hemming and hawing, don't worry, don't wait, do it right now. Do this journey with me. It's been amazing. I absolutely love it. All right, we got a few minutes here. Speaking of Iran, by the way, have you done the flashback of 2026? As Marco Rubio, now Secretary of State, then Senator, 11 years ago, made the prediction of what was going to happen with Iran. Pretty wild, and he hit it pretty much spot on when he was on the Senate floor regarding the Iran nuclear agreement resolution of dissatisfaction. In other words, we don't like you building nuclear stuff, and we're going to pass a resolution to say that. That's what they were debating, and Marco Rubio said this.
I do want to be recorded for history's purposes before I know what was going to happen in
very
regards
prophetic.
to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships, continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles, missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal, and they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high.
So that was Marco Rubio 11 years ago. Pretty prophetic because he even said, I want to be on the record saying this of what history is going to showcase, and we're seeing that play out right before our eyes. And coincidentally, now is the guy who is the Secretary of State trying to handle foreign policy and handle this foreign diplomacy. We're kind of seeing it play out. Pretty wild. Speaking of prophecy, our next guest is going to be pretty wild when we come back around the corner to talk about what he has and what he's been predicting to happen for a while. For your Friday here for The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
truth, reason, and common sense. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
That is what's up. Welcome back into the program. Great to have you today for your Friday. Finally making it, my friends. You scream, I scream. We all scream for ice cream. Have no fear. The voice of reason is here. That's right, and it's great to have you as we kind of wrap things up for the week, and I'm excited for this chat, man. I know it's a little weird, so I want to preface it as usual. It is our what?
Weird news of the day.
Oh, that's right. And it's a topic that we like to talk about on this program, and you can think about it as something that you agree with and believe or something that you find as pure entertainment value. That's your disclosure for the program. But we had this guest on the show about 3 years ago when his book first came out. Very interesting individual, a wonderful individual. Great to chat with him. And since then, he has blown up. He's been on the Sean Ryan podcast. He's been on a lot of other podcasts out there. He's made a lot of predictions from visions that he has received across the board. And will you believe them? Because he made the prophetic announcement that we would be involved with Iran this year that would lead to some UFO, UAP disclosure. So that being said, as part of our
What's Trending Today?
That's right. As we go to our Hooser Media Network studios, we sat down just earlier today with the author of the book UFO of God, with his experience with an abduction, ETs, UFOs, and so much more. We sat down to chat with the man himself, Chris Bledsoe. Chris, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Andy, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, it is so great to chat with you again. Yeah, it sounds like we were just talking off the air a little bit. You seem more busy now than what you were when you first came out with this book that kind of rattled everybody's cage at the beginning.
Yeah, in fact, I published in February 23, and this thing took off like I never dreamed it would, and it's still running in the top, in the top positions in 2 or 3 categories. So that has created a huge draw for people trying to get my attention. And so, it just is never ending.
Yeah, trying to understand what the heck's going on. So for those that may not remember your story, again, you've been one of the most studied guys from governments, from universities. You've traveled all over the world because of not only your experience, but then the after effects of what happens after your experience as well. But remind everybody just real quickly what your experience was and what actually happened to you.
Well, in 2007, I came through I lost my company, building business, building 100 homes a year because of the market crash, and I was very sick with Crohn's disease, and lost $1 million home for 19 years, moved in a mobile home, couldn't feed my children, and without putting them on free lunches. So you can imagine the stress that was there. So I was out crying out to God, Lord, help me. I was a Pentecostal holiness deacon in the church, 4 little babies at home, busy, and that's how my book got its name, UFO of God. I was crying out to God, and these big balls of fire come, these UFOs come. And that was nearly 20 years ago. And here's the thing, Andy, they never quit coming. And that's what's had the government studying me. That's why we're traveling everywhere. And, I take crowds of people, as many as, hundreds, up to 1,000 people out, and ask it to appear, and it does. It comes visible and interacts. So that's caused the whole thing.
That's pretty incredible. And now at the same time, after this experience, you had mentioned your Crohn's disease. Your Crohn's disease was gone after this experience too, wasn't it?
Yeah. When I came home from after that experience on the river, they took me. I didn't get it. In my book, it details all this. But when they appeared in front of me, 4 hours later, I come walking back and didn't know what happened. You couldn't make me believe I lost 5 minutes at a time, whereas I lost 4 hours. And
wow.
Yeah. So, but they never quit coming, and I film them all the time on my Instagram page. You can find me on my website at ufoofgod.com. There's my Instagram there, and so you can look at some of the videos that I post. pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, oh, that's absolutely. So even to this day, you still, when you call upon it, it still appears whenever you want it to, essentially.
Well, yeah, just this past summer, I was in, late fall, I was in Washington, D.C. It was in September. We were with Eric Burleson and Anna Luna and about 25 others at the Congressional Club, having, a little meeting, and afterwards at about 10:30, myself and 9 other scientists walked down to the Library of Congress and asked it to come, and it appeared and did figure eights over the Capitol and the White House for 45 minutes. We filmed it, and it made Ross Coulthart, News Nation, and a lot of other outlets, and all the scientists. There was a scientist from NASA there with me, from the International Space Station, from the Department of Energy, from the National Science Foundation, from the Food and Drug Administration,
wow,
from the DOD. So, yeah, in D.C. That was this fall.
What an incredible story. It's so wild. So based on the title of your book and what you were experiencing when you cried out to God, when you were asking for help with all the stuff going on in your life, these beings, these entities, these sightings, everything that's going on, there's been the theory that, that ties in with the religious aspect of angels and demons. And a lot of people, obviously, we, as culture, as humanity, we get this idea that if we don't understand it, then we fear it. And if we fear it, then we hate it because it's got to be something evil and bad. And people automatically just assume that these things are demonic and that they're evil. I personally believe that there's probably a little bit of both on both ends of it. But what's your take on all this? How do you interpret all of this into your life?
Well, let me tell you, 20 years ago when it happened, remember, I was crying out to God, and these things came and took my Crohn's away and scrambled my brain badly. I didn't know what happened. How could that? I'm a strong, faithful Christian, right? And I still am.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't reconcile what happened for a while. It was like Paul. Paul was blinded on the road to Damascus by an orb of light. It blinded him. It was a ball of light.
Yeah.
So I told the government when they came in 2007 or 8, early 08, within 10 months they were at my house, or 12 months, and never left. And I told them then it was spiritual. They were angels. I said, I believe they're angels. And of course, I got ostracized from the church. I got ostracized from the UFO world, and I spent years on my own, steadily saying, they're angels, or they're spiritual beings, or somehow it's not what we think. And I think everybody's coming to that conclusion right now that is more about what I've been saying it is.
Yeah. We hear now the news, finally. We've been waiting for this on pins and needles. We're slowly starting to see more disclosure coming from the government. After the Age of Disclosure documentary at the beginning of the year, we've had other people that are starting to make some more gains, recognizing the government's probably known about a lot more of it than what they lead on for a long time, the private contractors, everything happening. Are you surprised that this is the time we're starting to see a lot of this information? And are you excited to see more disclosure and admittance from the government in the fact that we're actually going to disclose more information?
I am 100% excited. In fact, I predicted it. Even in my book, and for many years I've been saying this 2026, this time frame is when a new knowledge would come. And that was part of it. This disclosure is a new knowledge. When the world understands that we're not alone, that changes everything completely.
How so? How is it going to change, do you think? I mean, I know that because of the fear, because of maybe the naiveness or the lack of understanding of it, there's going to be a lot of fear, a lot of hysteria on this. And when we heard, like in the disclosure documentaries, they say that when they've predicted how society would respond, that it would collapse a lot of portions of society, maybe good, maybe bad aspects on that front. But how do you think when this stuff comes out and we finally come to the admittance and recognition, what do you think will change?
Well, consciousness, for one. This thing cracks your reality. I've witnessed it for 20 years when people go with me and they've never seen anything. So they don't really believe. I mean, they want to. They don't know. always speculation, but when it hits you in the face and you see it, it interacts with us and it responds, that person completely changes, and it turns us into better loving. And this is in the studies, the government, U.S. government studies. It makes you more green, more caring, more empathy. So I believe once this thing is, and it's got to be portrayed in the truth. I'm not saying there's not aliens. There's a very good chance there's life everywhere and levels beyond dimensions, right? But there is a spiritual thing around us that hears our thoughts, hears your prayers, will bless you, is working with us daily in our lives, and we just don't know it. And so it's all critical right now, and how people perceive it. The government, the DOD would rather you believe that it's the devil and not mess with it, because it gives you power. You become psychic and start experiencing this. This is well known. The Monroe Institute trains psychic spies. Well, people that are UFO experiencers, that's the first thing they want to take you to the Monroe Institute and learn to see if you can do remote viewing, because it's part of it. So there's a reason they don't want us to know.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. You get a lot of psychic people. How do you control them?
All right, so that's Chris Bledsoe, his author of the book UFO of God, UFOofGod.com. We'll continue that conversation when we come back right around the corner, right here for the Voice of Reason. Lots more to get to. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Big government is broken. Every year, politicians fail to pass a budget as the deficit continues to grow. Every month, unelected bureaucrats pile on rules no one voted for, strangling our economy. And every day, D.C.'s broken system gets in the way of the American dream. Washington isn't working, and the people pay the price. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe it's time to fix the system. Now, join the movement to make government work.
Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast, become your own Voice of Reason, and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it.
Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all the social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, welcome back into it. Great to have you here for a Friday. We continue our conversation with Chris Bledsoe, author of the book UFO of God. You can find his website and all the information at ufoofgod.com as we continue that conversation. In the same time, you mentioned some of the predictions that you made and that this was going to be a year of disclosure that you wrote about a long time ago. At the same time, and you include this in the book as well, you made a prediction, and I think there's maybe a coincidence, not so much of a coincidence, of the fact that we hear the news about potential disclosure happening right now. Right around the same time we hear about what's going on in the world and the invasion of Iran, the bombing of Iran. You said that was going to happen in 2026 as well, and that was years ago.
Yeah, I did. In fact, I write about this in my book in 2012. I saw that vision. They gave me the message. There's a character, a lady, the most beautiful lady that's a part of my book, and it's too deep to get into right now, but she gave me that message in 2012. And when I reported her, that was when the government really started getting involved, NASA and others, and they wanted to know what was said, and I put it in writing then, and that was way back then. And then I brought it out publicly in 2019 again, just before COVID, because I had another experience and was reminded to tell it.
Wow.
And that is what I was told, is when you see Israel and Iran exchanging missiles, which started happening in November of the year that the inauguration was. Just before the inauguration, Iran shot some 480 rockets into Israel. Well, there were orbs appearing, and they panicked, the government did, and called them drones. They had drones in New Jersey, drones in the ocean. They didn't know what they were. Well, they were orbs, and that's exactly what I told them. When you see these missiles flying, you'll start seeing orbs everywhere. They're going to wake us up. They don't like the suffering of mankind. Well, they stopped shooting those rockets, and then it all died down.
Yeah.
Well, they started back again 5 days ago. Now these orbs are back in New Jersey. They're over Iran. They're everywhere, and it's just going to multiply.
Wow.
So the phenomenon's trying to keep us from destroying ourselves. It's like heaven coming to earth.
I was going to say, do they intervene with this? We've heard stories about with for example, the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, that there had been stories about what they thought was a drone, maybe a UFO, something that would come down and would take out a tank or something that was blowing up an apartment complex, hurting civilians. Or, like you said, these drones or these lights that show up during these times, and that they're usually around like nuclear sites to make sure we don't blow each other up. Do they actually intervene to keep us from blowing each other up?
Well, that's what they explained to me. If this thing was to go atomic, that's when they would intervene. And between you and I, and I'm sure there are things happening that are miraculous that the troops know and they see, because I'm getting reports of that you'd never hear about. That will shorten this whole thing, because I believe the peace is coming and the darkness is going to be exposed. And that was the prediction. That was the other part of it. The lady said, when you see these things happening, the missiles flying and the war starting, watch for miracles to happen and watch for the darkness to be exposed. We're gonna reveal all the darkness in the world.
Yeah.
And bring about peace for afterwards. So it's happening.
It is. It is. We've described on the radio show quite a bit. I try to describe it as the underlying, the dirtiness, the darkness, the shadow stuff that happens underneath the surface of society that since Donald Trump, in my opinion, has been president and been leader on both accounts, that we've kind of boiled it to the surface and exposing it in order for us to rid it out of society. And it seems to be happening right before our eyes, isn't it?
It's happening, and that's exactly what the lady said. In 2019, I did 10 interviews in 2 months. Right after Easter, because that's when she came back and gave me that message again. There's trouble is coming. When you see these rockets, and I started telling it then. I did a lot of interviews in 2019 saying the same thing, the missiles and all. And trust me, I've got the attention of a lot of high-level folks right now that, and I don't know if you've seen this, but there was articles in the Daily Mail yesterday saying that some 40 military installations had briefed their soldiers saying that this was the Battle of Armageddon, that they were trying to bring Jesus back.
That is Chris Bledsoe. By the way, the podcast will have the extended version of that interview because that was not all of it. We'll see you back on the radio soon. Bye. As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you. Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the voice